of the president's list of MMDC nominees would speak with the police for more details. Fix the Country movement takes to the streets of the Western Region capital to demand that managers of the country put Ghana back on track. We take you live to the demonstrators for the latest.
We are telling them that enough of the political pettiness, that the NDC will not continue the projects of MPP out of political pettiness. MPP will not continue the projects of NDC out of political pettiness.
And as the world commemorates Internal Peace Day today, we take you live to the forecourt of the National Peace Council for that event to mark the day in Ghana. We have business and sports all in this package. I'm Mr. Lai. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
12 persons have been picked up in connection with disturbances recorded in Chereponi following the release of the president's list of MMDC nominees. Some supporters of the New Patriotic Party in the Chereponi and East Mamprusit districts of the Northeast region last Sunday went on rampage as soon as the official list was released, attacking some executives in the constituency and vandalizing party property over what they described as imposition of district chief executives on them. The police has since been on a manhunt for perpetrators of Sunday's violence and successfully apprehended a number of them. The Nalerugu Police Commander ASP Roberts Anabik Angmaing joins us on the phone with more. Good morning to you, Commander. Many thanks for your time. Now, at the last count, you had 12 suspects. Who are these, and are they all associated with last Sunday's violence?
Good morning, Israel. Yeah, they are all associated with the violence that occurred on Sunday. They were picked up this morning in their various houses.
All right, and are you pursuing some more, or these are all the ones you're looking for?
Well, we are still on manhunt for the rest who are involved, but we are doing intelligence-led sweeps into arrest those people who are actually involved, but not just to arrest any other person who, may not be linked, but will be picked just for the purpose of it. But we are trying our best to make sure that all those people who are arresting, they have something to do with the violence that occurred on that day.
And what next after the arrests?
They have been screened, after which they will be put before court as soon as possible.
All right, and so you're sure that the 12 that you've picked up so far, they are all associated with the arrest and it's not more of a soup?
So we've analyzed the video that was circulated and we've been able to identify them. Some of them in the video and some of them that we have evidence that they are linked to the case, they were arrested.
How many more in all are you looking for?
That I can't give an exact number. As far as when we are able to get them, we will let you.
All right. Thank you very much. Northeast Regional Correspondent Eliasu Tanko has been speaking with the disappointed aspirant who has been demanding the immediate release of the suspect. He joins us on the phone with more. So, Eliasu, what more can you tell us? Right, we have lost Eliasu Tanko, but we'll try and re-establish the connection to him so that he can bring us up to speed on the engagement he's had with the disappointed aspirants who many have accused of being behind the violence. We'll try and reach our correspondent a lot later, but also related to the story, Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development Dan Boche says individuals who object to the list of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives MMDC's appointment had no basis to hit the streets to cause chaos. He told Evans on PM Express Monday the president has the legal backing to either accept or reject any person recommended by the selection committee for the role of MMDC.
Absolutely no basis for the disorderly behavior of some people. But thank God you're talking about only 1 or 2 places out of the 260. Yes, there's maybe this whole business of negative news is more news. That's why. Other than that, for me, if you have 260 nominations and for 260 districts, and you have only 1 or 2 places where there have been some disorderly conduct, it's not something that we should lose focus at all. But certainly, the law should take its course. I mean, there's nothing like because you're a party person or because it's about political issues, you can decide to go against the law and people should allow you to go. There's absolutely no justification about it. President is supposed to make appointments. He's made appointments. That's it.
I mean, in the case, there are other places where, yes, there haven't been violence, but we've had community members say, but this is not a man that we anticipated. And we just did the graphical representation there. First, I need to understand, why did the party decide to use this approach of vetting people? Because we're not obliged to.
There's no party business in this. Article 243, 1. Local Governance Act, clear. Section 20. Is the president who appoints the chief executive. There's no law that I know of or regulation that tells how Mr. President should go through the process. That he should form a committee, he should have a vetting process. There's no law. So it's the president who should make the appointment. He decides that in the case of maybe the chief executive, 260 people. So some people have expressed interest and he wants to listen to them. It's a way of also getting data of the rich human resource that we have. So he decides to, employ that process.
Well, the nominations come 8 months into the presidency of the second term of President Akufo-Addo. With concerns, the approval process may delay the process even further. The local government minister have a confident majority of the chief executives nominated will be confirmed within 10 days from the release of the appointment list. He says the 16 regional ministers have been instructed to initiate processes in getting the 260 nominees confirmed to assist the president to achieve his promises to the Ghanaian people.
That's what I said yesterday. We expect the regional ministers to carry Mr. President's communication to the secretary of the various assemblies and then inform the regional directorate of electoral commission, and for that matter, the district directors too. And then the process will start by the order 15 of the model standing orders. Yeah, within 21 days of receipt of that notice, this confirmation should start. So if they're able to do that this week, I'm sure some of this confirmation can start from as early as this week.
What do you say
and I expect that within the next 10 days, many of them, almost all of them, should be confirmed.
What do you say to the local government experts who say the process that we've seen have been so political, just like we've seen in the past, and we are not selecting, nominating people based on competence, but on political loyalty, and that produces a system where...
There's always a problem with these discussions. When some people
you disagree?
When some people think that for them, the moment you say it's been so political, but what the whole thing is politics. It's local governance act. It's about politics. So what's wrong with being politics? But that's the whole thing that we need.
There's a difference between politics, and making a choice for the national, national interest. Partisan politics.
So partisan politics is towards national interest. We form political parties. We have manifestos. We have our ideas. We have our values. And it's not in national interest. It is in national interest. The reason that the point where people think that when they are not involved in partisan politics, they are cleverer than those of us who are involved in political politics. It's irritating at times, you know. So that when you are not wearing a political color, you don't belong to a political party, then you think that you have more national interest than those of us who are involved in politics. I'm unable to get the point.
Government has also given the clearest indication that it will, in a matter of weeks, inaugurate the Guan district. The people of Santrofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likwe traditional areas have since 2019 been without an administrative district after the Tea region was carved out of the Volta region. But the minister says all is set for the inauguration.
About the decision by the Electoral Commission for them not to take part in some voting process. But that's for Electoral Commission. The pact that Mr. President had with them was a promise he made that he'll make sure that they get a district. Yes. And Mr. President has signed it until ultimately the district. Then we had to go to elections. After which this whole business of why didn't they take part in elections happened and all that. And under that circumstance, it was not easy, to just carry on with that exercise because people still felt that the main issue was the parliamentary elections. So when we were appointed and went to ministry, we got back because fortunately for some of us, these were the people we were dealing with in the regional reorganization as to the referendum that they all voted and moved to Oti region. So we had to deal with them and we had to build consensus. They themselves have a joint coordinating committee and they started meeting and brought a report. There's a report they brought this year to me as to where they wanted to have the, what do you call it, the district capital.
Oh, the capital.
Yes. But finally, Mr. President, when he issued this instrument, gave it to Lepe Mate. Fine. Then they started, very encouragingly coming out with the places where they can have as offices before government puts up permanent buildings. And many of the traditional areas offered some of these facilities to us. So finally, we had to talk to them and agree on a date so that we can pay a visit and have that consultation. And we had a very good meeting at.
Let's return to our earlier story on the Chereponi disturbances and to our Northeast region correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko, who has been speaking with a disappointed aspirant who is calling for the immediate release of suspect. Hello, Ilyasu. What has the disappointed aspirant been telling you?
Well, he's calling for the unconditional release of these 12 suspects. He said the 12 suspects were not all of them actually were involved in the incident that happened on Sunday. And he's also he mentioned that there's a minor who is about 15 years old. The police picked him up yesterday when they came to arrest his father. His father was not around, and they picked him up. He also claimed that there are NDC members who were also picked up in that particular operation by the police. He's saying that he's calling for their release, not because they are only his supporters, but most of them are also party members. And he believes that this is a party issue that has to be resolved, not by the police. And so according to them, he has dispatched a delegation from the Chereponi to go and meet with the police to ensure that these suspects are unconditionally released.
Is he justifying the conduct of these suspects who have been picked up?
Well, he said he's not justifying their conduct, but he also said they did that to show their discontent for the president's decision. And he believes that since they are party members, most of them that have been picked up, since they are party members, it shouldn't be resolved by the police. It should be resolved by party executives or the party leadership in the region. And so he's saying that despite what has happened, he wants the suspect to be released by the police.
All right, thank you very much, Ilyasu Tanko, for that update there. Moving on to other stories. Fix the Country campaigners have taken their street protest to the Western Region capital to drum home their demands for better management of the country and the drafting of a new constitution. We'll be giving you live updates shortly, but let's first hear from one of the conveners.
Well, as you can see, I have been advocating for changing our constitution and changing our system for so long. And I believe that Accra is not the only place in Ghana. In fact, what you people don't know is that part of me comes from the, let's say, the Central and Western region. My father came to school in St. Mary's. I used to come to Bensu and Barons when I was a child. So anything that concerns the Western region concerns me as well. So I couldn't have said I joined the demonstration in Accra and that is all to register my displeasure. Everywhere fix the country, they call us to come and give them a platform for the people to voice out their grievances to the leadership of this country. I will be there to support them in vigor and in vim. The people to be out in their numbers to tell the leadership of this country, both past and present, that we are tired of substandard governance, that we are tired of governance that has no plan. We are tired of directionless leadership. We are tired of substandard leadership. We are tired of Amemwo Fo, Amemwo Kankai, for the past 30 years. That is what we are waiting for the youth of Western region to come and tell them. We are telling them that enough of the political pettiness, that the NDC will not continue the projects of MPP out of political pettiness. MPP will not continue the projects of NDC out of political pettiness. Takrady and Western region actually is where Ghana started from. If I say that, right from the time when the white man was coming down through Ayana Takrady Habo from Liverpool, Takrady is the first place that got light, electricity in Ghana. So it cannot be that a region that we actually exploit oil from, this is the region. When I came here, you can see the level of hopelessness in the eyes of the youth in this region. The youth do not have jobs. The youth have nothing. They don't know where they are going. Education is nothing to write home about. Now there is a insecurity issues on the rise. We've sat here. 4 of our women were abducted last year. This year, there is another one that a pregnant woman has been held hostage, and the leadership of this country, they are pretending as if they've not heard anything. Now we are going to give a voice to the Takrady people, to the Western region people, to the Sekondi people, to the Inche, Asankragwa, Impoho, Wasa, Ekopo, Bodi, Abodia, Boase. We are expecting them to be here in their numbers to register their displeasure.
Everybody was complaining about money. Everybody was complaining about anything because anything is wrong. So we want the government to fix the system for the country. But it belongs to us. We don't have any place to go. So we want the government to fix our own nation. The Ghana belongs to Ghanaians. It don't belong to any Aboriginal country, any different country. So that's what this morning I'm here.
So what are your expectations this morning?
Well, my expectation is I want the government to fix the system. Only system. But now everything is I'm from Axim. I'm from Zimbabwe. I am a brother from Axim. So we came here to make the demonstration. We want people to come to join us.
Hadi Yakubu of the Economic Fighters League has also been speaking about the ongoing demonstration.
With them about the issues that affect them. And it is clear that there is a lot of enchantment in the system. And one of the things that we continue to say is that the issues that we are bringing on board are issues that need attention to be addressed. The country needs fixing, and we must make sure that this country is fixed before it goes beyond the cliff. Once it gets there, there is no salvaging. And therefore, the people of Western region have seen what their region has become in terms of the extent of development, in terms of their living conditions, in terms of joblessness. And as they also tell us, NDC and MPP have collectively failed the people. Over 30 years, almost 30 years of so-called democracy. The democracy is always a lip service, and people cannot feel the democracy in their lives. It is a useless democracy that we need not to approve of. It is a democracy that we need as a people to decide collectively, as the sovereign people of this country, that we need a change. And that change has started with Fix the Country, and it will not stop until the country is fixed.
Now, in your previous demonstration, the one that was held in Accra, you took a lot of pains to make sure that the COVID-19 protocols were followed. But we're looking at the footages and the videos coming out from the demonstration in Takrady. It doesn't look like you're complying.
Sorry, Israel, can you come again?
I'm saying it doesn't look like you're complying with the COVID-19 protocols as you tried to do in Accra.
Well, Israel, we brought 500 nose masks here, distributed them. We have marshals on the ground whose duty it is to continue to remind demonstrators and protesters that the wearing of the mask is mandatory as per the protocols of COVID-19. And therefore, you can rest assured that everything is being done on the ground to make sure that the compliance with the COVID-19 protocols is top par.
What's been the level of cooperation? Joining us live is correspondent Ina Thalia Kwansa for more on the demonstration. So, Ina, what's the status of the demonstration right now? Hello, Ina, if you can hear me, what's the status of the demonstration right now?
Yes, so Israel, these are young men within Western region. You have people from Nzama, Tafa, Central Gulf, up to the Western North region. I can count over 500 young men and women on the street. We have oldies as well in their midst. They started a march from the AZ runabout in Takrade, and right now they are marching towards Sekendi, where I understand that a group of people are also waiting for them to join in this demonstration. According to them, they decided to do this demonstration today being the birthday of the first president of the Republic because he is from the Western region, and they feel that the Western region in this country has been treated. A lot of resources come from this region, but fair share of the economic cake. It's like road traffic, unemployment, even though there is a fire, not just us to work in any of this cases. These are angry youth walking through the principal street, Sekendi, Takrade. Now they are marching from Takrade to Sekendi.
All right, thank you very much, Ina Thalia Kwansa. Your connection is not too good, but we appreciate you bringing us up to speed. You're watching News Desk here on JoyNews Prime. We're taking a break. We have more coming your way.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
The International Justice Mission is calling for regular police patrols on the Volta Lake to help deal with the menace of child trafficking and the use of children for hazardous work on the lake. In an interview with JoyNews, the Director of Advocacy, Leonard Akon, said Ghana is making progress in the fight against the menace. Ghana joined thousands of churches across the world to commemorate IJM's Freedom Sunday, a day set aside to highlight the ills of trafficking. Maxwell Agbagba was at some churches that commemorated the day and has come through with this report.
In spite of efforts to completely eradicate the menace of trafficking and the use of children on Lake Volta, some perpetrators continue to outwit state security agencies. 2 years ago, I met a 10-year-old boy who was rescued by police after he was used for many years by his boat's master for fishing activities. He was part of a group of children who were rescued. He told me the boat's master had taken him to an island community along the Lake Volta under the guise of funding his education. He told me a boy who he lived on the same compound with died after he was forced to dive into the lake. It is Freedom Sunday, and here at the Lashibi EP Church, some of the members are happily taking pictures with inscriptions that condemn trafficking. Freedom Sunday provides churches with the opportunity to deepen the understanding of God's heart for justice, discover the realities of modern slavery, and join the fight to end it. Director of Advocacy for IJM in Ghana, Leonard Akon, urged members of the church to join the fight for justice.
Now just imagine that your son does not know how to swim and is taken on an island community which is about 3,000 square miles away from where he used to live to work on this Volta Lake for about 6 to 7 days. Just imagine that it is your daughter. Also just imagine that your son does not know how to swim and is made to work on this Volta Lake in a leaky canoe boat and is made to go into the deepest part of the lake, to dive into the lake to disentangle it. Just imagine that it is you or it is your son. Your son doesn't know how to swim, your daughter doesn't know how to swim, but is made to go through this situation just for the benefit of the fisherman. Now this is the reality of what children on the Volta Lake go through on a daily basis.
He's calling for regular police patrols on Lake Volta to deal with the situation.
Deploying police patrol boats on Lake Volta, that is one thing that will end this, because Lake Volta is huge and massive, and deploying police patrol boats to basically arrest people exploiting children and to stop people from exploiting children on the Lake Volta is one of the surest way to end this problem. So police patrol boats on Lake Volta, every single angle or every single part of Lake Volta, we deploying police patrol boats on Lake Volta is what will end this problem. And I am very sure that Lake Volta will be free of exploitation of children.
At the Hope City Church in the Sioux, members sang justice songs to commemorate the day. Gospel musician who is also a member of the International Justice Mission Ghana, Eugene Zuta, talked about getting justice for the oppressed and how Christians can help in that regard.
Who can help Kofi, help him with his education and all that. You know how the narrative goes. And so took Kofi from the family and then sent him to a village that is near the Volta Lake.
We're having to catch on that story to take you live to the forecourt of the National Peace Council headquarters for the latest on the International Peace Day commemoration.
30 climate plans. No new coal plants after 2021. Phasing out fossil fuels and supporting developing countries in their transition to green economies. Dear students, as we envisage our world after the pandemic, we cannot go back to what it was. With your help, we can recover better and stronger. We can transform economies, and we can we can plant the seeds for peace and progress in our human family. Unquote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Chairman, all of you here today, let me first acknowledge and continue to applaud the hard work that is done every single day, sometimes unseen, to keep the peace in Ghana. I've often said Ghana is such a peaceful place, but please don't take this peace for granted. There are many countries in the region who know the consequence of taking this for granted. So more grease to your elbows. May your ambitious plans for a sustainable peace council that continues to be a beacon of light in the sub-region and a model that others are trying to encompass may continue to grow under your leadership and under your guidance, and may Ghana remain very, very peaceful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalsavani. Ghana is a peaceful country. Let's not take the peacefulness for granted. Let's invite Mr. Diallo Abdulman to give us a goodwill message. Thank you.
Dear moderator, please, moderator, distinguished participants, dear chairman, dear members of the board, concerned, dear media friends. Actually, when my colleague shared with me the program this morning, I say, well, in such event, when my boss speak on behalf of the U and everything is said, I think he has covered all the issues. So I don't have really anything to add. He mentioned that we will come organize and align with all our difference and variety in the UN to contribute to bring our part to the edifice of peace here in Ghana. So I just want to commend you, to thank you for your leadership and for giving us this opportunity to share with you. Only, I would say, the contribution I would like to add, which is very important, our Mr. Chalabani reminded it, peace is never, we should not take it for granted that we achieve, that we reach. We have to be vigilant. And in 1981, in Yamoussoukro, in Côte d'Ivoire, the first president of the early independent Côte d'Ivoire, Houphouët-Boigny, used to say that peace is not a word. You cannot achieve the rich peace. He said peace is a behavior. Peace is a behavior. So we as UNESCO, as part of the United Nations family, bringing our share, our diversity, and working on the abstract of our constitution, which says, I quote, since wars raise in the minds of men and women, this is in the minds of men and women that we should all build the defense of peace, and that it's through education, through culture, through sciences. So this is how we will do our best to contribute, to work tirelessly, I would say, with all of you, each entities, to contribute to peace here in Ghana, in Africa, and the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We take a message from our from the National House of Chiefs, Nana Dr. S.K. Asante.
Mr. Chairman of the Governing Board of the National Peace Council, and distinguished members of the Council, eminent members, the coordinating director of the United Nations, representative of UNESCO, Ananum, and eminent traditional and religious leaders who have gathered here, members of the press, distinguished members, and ladies and gentlemen. I have been called upon to deliver a goodwill message. The message of chiefs and traditional rulers everywhere is that we are deeply committed to peace. We are agents of peace in our traditional areas without any formal recognition or remuneration. the machinery of state in this country is very limited. There are very few police stations throughout the rural areas of the country. And we serve as peacemakers. We settle more disputes than the former judicial structures. And we have carried our message of peace even to the United Nations with the Asante and delivering a lecture to the United Nations General Assembly on peace and security. So we are agents of peace. We are non-partisan by the Constitution, so we are not involved in any political strife. So we are very devoted to the whole process of peace. I happen to have been involved in the formulation of the Ghana Constitution nearly 30 years ago. And we have been recognized in Ghana as an oasis of peace and constitutionalism in a very turbulent region. But our reputation can easily be affected by disputes, by conflicts, some of which we saw during the last election. So we are called upon to adhere to the tenets of peace. We joined the United Nations, the National Peace Council, in actually creating the conditions of peace. And we agree that peace is not only the lack of the non-existence of violence or conflict, but it consists in the creation of conditions which are conducive to peace, conditions which involve, employment for everybody, the raising of the standards of living, and so forth and so on. So I'll end my 2 minutes allotted to me by saying that all of us should work conscientiously toward the maintenance of peace. Thank you very much.
So before we give the microphone to my chairman, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors, Cheesy Pizza, Flora Tissues, Bell Alpha, Bell Peppers, and the Boss Baker. We thank them so much for we now invite my chairman to give them.
Don't mind. Take off my mask. Okay, can take it off.
So the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest James.
Your Excellency, Mr. Charles Abani, the UN Resident Coordinator, Your Excellency, Mr. Diallo, the UNESCO Resident Representative, eminent members of the National Peace Council Governing Board present this morning. And let me say thank you to all members who are here for your commitment to this work. When you came into office, you thought it was once a quarter board. Now you realize it's a daily work. And nobody anticipated that this is the way it was going to be, but it has become. Eminent members of the Regional Peace Council who are also here, our distinguished traditional rulers, our partner Galaxy International, thank you for coming. Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, And let me take the opportunity this morning also to recognize my wife who is here with me. It's important to come along with her because she's a colleague of the UN resident coordinator and they have not met for so long. So I thought that it would be good to bring her along this morning so that they can fraternize for a while. As indicated by earlier speakers, September 21st each year has been set aside by the United Nations as the International Day of Peace. It is a day devoted to commemorating and strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among peoples and nations of the world. The theme for this year's celebration is Recovering Better for an Equitable and Sustainable World. As the world continues to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, citizens of the world are being inspired to think creatively about how to help everyone recover better, to build resilience and to transform our world into one that is more peaceful, just, equitable, inclusive, sustainable, and healthier. The COVID-19 pandemic is known to hit the underprivileged and marginalized groups the hardest. It has brought a surge in discrimination, hatred, and stigma, which only cost more lives instead of saving them. The virus attacks without regard to ethnicity, political, or social persuasion. Indeed, it has denied lots of people their jobs and livelihood. The world must therefore come together to confront this common enemy of humankind. To recover from the devastating effects of the pandemic, we must make peace with one another, tolerate and coexist to provide the requisite resilience for faster recovery and development. In the 2021 DPI report, as indicated earlier, Ghana was ranked as the second most peaceful country in Africa and the 38th in the world out of 163 countries reviewed. This makes Ghana the most peaceful country in the West Africa sub-region. This is an improvement over the 2020 ranking where Ghana placed third in Africa and 43rd in the world. The result shows that Ghana has been steadily making progress in its quest to ensure sustainable peace. While we celebrate this feat, we cannot go to sleep as the threat against this feat are not far from Ghana. Political vigilantism and the resultant electoral violence, for example, have been omnipresent in Ghana's elections. To deal with this menace, the National Peace Council dialogued with the NDC and MPP and produced a roadmap and a code of conduct to guide political behavior before, during, and after the last elections. The council thereafter undertook a nationwide advocacy and sensitization of the general public on the anti-vigilantism law and the code of conduct for political parties, and the signing of the Presidential Peace Pact as a means to guaranteeing peace before, during, and after the election. This led to generally peaceful elections. Indeed, we did not record any act of vigilantism during the elections. Regrettably, however, some people died in the post-election violence during the collation of results. This is a dent on our democratic credibility and should not be allowed to fester. At a post-election dialogue in Adan earlier this year, participants, which included the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Majority and Minority Leader of Parliament, chairmen and general secretaries of the NPP, NDC, representatives of the CPP and PNC, members of the security services, donor partners, civil society organizations, academia, electoral commission, judiciary, the National Peace Council, among others. We resolved to ensure that these unfortunate events do not happen again in this country. Your Excellencies, another threat to Ghana's peace is what has become known as violent extremism and terrorism. Currently, in the West African sub-region, violent extremism and violent extremists are gaining ground. Burkina Faso, Ghana's northern neighbor, has had to battle violent extremists for some time now. It is important that we in Ghana take steps to consolidate our peace and intentionally close any gaps, such as unemployment, fundamentalism, maladministration, that could allow for the growth of violent extremism in the country. Collectively, it is the duty of every Ghanaian to work towards protecting the peace we are enjoying in this country.
All right, moving on to some business. The government will launch the National Critical Information Infrastructure Directive next month, a move that will aid the fight against cybercrimes. According to the Communications and Digitalization Minister, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, preparations are almost complete to ensure resilience against cyber attacks. She was speaking at the opening ceremony for the one-week residential training on artificial intelligence with career guidance for girls in ICT tertiary schools edition, supported by Huawei Ghana.
The Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has disclosed that the Critical Information Infrastructure Act will be effective next month. Speaking on the sidelines of the residential training on artificial intelligence with career guidance for girls in tertiary schools, the Minister, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, stated that the act will be launched as part of cybersecurity celebrations in October.
We've identified over 150 sectors, companies, that are critical to the survival of our country, and which, if attacked, if they suffer a cyber attack, will cripple our country's socioeconomic development. And so once designated, the Cybersecurity Center will work with you, and if they prescribe measures and you do not abide by them, they are empowered to issue administrative penalties to ensure our collective security. So that's what we'll do, the designation this week, and then the whole program will be launched during the Cybersecurity Month celebrations next month, and then we'll start working with the sectors to bring up their systems to acceptable international levels. So we're giving effect to the Cybersecurity Act, which was passed in December last year.
As part of actualizing the Women for Tech initiative, Huawei Technologies, in collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, has organized a week's residential training on artificial intelligence with career guidance for girls in tertiary schools at the Kofi Annan Center for ICT. Here is Director of Public Relations at Huawei, Jenny Zhou.
For this year, we noticed that for Ministry of Communications, they also put a lot of effort on girls in ICT. So we also noticed that girls can play a very important role in the ICT domain. So that's why we are here. We want to partner with MOCD, Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, on the trainings of the girls in Ghanaians. So we all know that in this digitalization of Ghana, so the girls in Ghana, they must be equipped with themselves with the ICT, so which can also very key driver to the digitalization of Ghana. So that's why we sponsorship a lot of events or training or mentorship or career guidance. So we wish that all of the girls in Ghana, they can get a very world standard certifications, and then can make them to not only work in Ghana, but also to work in some more international companies.
Up next, Uru Kampofo will join me with the very latest in sports. Stay tuned in.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
All right, so Roku Amfuwa joined me in the studio with sports, and there are a number of stories that they're keeping their tabs on. One of them being the naming of the Black Stars coach. Roku, thank you for joining us. So what's the latest? What's holding that announcement? We thought it was all set. We're going to have some more Milo.
Yeah, and I think on paper everything is close to being done. As we reported yesterday, the government and the Ghana Football Association Executive Council have approved the decision after the 3-member committee did submit Milo Van Rajevac. So Milo, we're told, has been in the country, and all that's left now is an official announcement. There's been rumors around that they want to do an official unveiling, but the problem here is that the names being linked with the assistant coach, it's almost as if it goes back to the first stage, because you have Otto Addo, we have George Boateng, and then we have Didi Dramani, and even Maxwell Kunudu of Legon City here in Ghana, all being linked with the assistant role. And so I have a feeling that's what's maybe holding it back. And they would love to, name a new technical team to really inform Ghanaians on what the next direction is. And so maybe that's what's holding things up. But Ghanaians are growing impatient because, first off,
yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah, you sacked a coach on last week Monday. You said you need 72 hours to name a new one, and it's been more than a week now. And what's more worrying is that South Africa, who are in our group and face Ethiopia in just about 2 weeks, named their squad this morning. And so, teams have started taking steps to ensure that they get better preparation for qualification, and we don't even know our coach.
Yeah. All right. So whilst, here in Ghana, we're looking at bringing in a new coach. In Barca, apparently, they're trying to get rid of their coach.
Yeah, and that's FC Barcelona for you. The standards are really high, and they never really understand that maybe it's reached a time where, every big club goes through a horrible period. Yeah. Manchester United are just coming from one. AC Milan themselves, Juventus have been there. Even Liverpool went, 30 years without a Premier League title. So I think it's Barcelona's 10. Lionel Messi has left. They don't have the best players anymore. And unfortunately, they suffered a number of injuries. But yesterday's draw against Granada was very disappointing for a lot of Barcelona fans. They play in a certain way, trying to pass the ball around. But yesterday, we saw them attempt 53 crosses in a game. And that's not like them. I don't think they have the tools to be able to reach the heights that they used to reach. I don't see them challenging a Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid for the league this season. They have quite a number of young players who need time and guidance. And whichever coach comes in, I think the first thing would be to manage expectations, because I don't see this team winning the Champions League or even going farther. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Roku Ampofo, and there'll be more on more sports later on at JoyNews today, so do stay tuned in. But that's it for the Bulletin News Desk this morning. I'm Ezra Lai. Thank you very much for watching. You stay tuned in to JoyNews.